In light of the Canadian federal election that's coming up, remember to vote. Hey there, welcome back to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we are doing an episode of Hot and Cold. This is a video series I like to do where I talk about the best and worst music I heard over the past week. In this episode, we're actually doing 2 weeks because last week I was sick, and yeah, that was no fun. Last week was also Thanksgiving, at least in Canada. I like to say Happy Thanksgiving. And I hope you had a good one. Now, talking about music, the links to all of the songs I will be talking about in this video will be down in the description. Feel free to check them out. Let me know what you think of the songs. First up, we're going over the week of September 29th to October 5th. And yeah, let's get into some hot tracks. First up, we have Charlie Puth, Cheating on You. This single could have been on Voice Notes. It's the song that I feel like out of the three that he's released over the past month or so, it could be on his last record. Very sultry with its beat, crooning vocal style. We have this whistled hook that was annoying upon first listen, but I've since turned around my thoughts on that. I do like it. And where I stand with this single compared to the other two, Mother and I Warn Myself, I think it's better than I Warn Myself, but not as good as Mother. Moving on from there, Niall Horan has a new single out. This one is called Nice to Meet Ya. Hot track here. Another single from a One Direction singer. And this one's a good one. I love the pulse to this song. I love the pulse. It's an admirable blend of pop and rock. We have a solid vocal performance, which is something that we just come to expect from Niall. He is a fantastic singer. Next up, Camila Cabello has a new single. This one's called Cry For Me. And this one's interesting. I can't stand the lyrics. I feel like they are generic and plain. It's about someone dying for someone else for the sake of a relationship. We've heard that so many times. But you know what? The hook makes up for it. The hook makes up for it, makes the track buoyant despite the airy vocals. CHVRCHES released a new song. This one is called Death Stranding, and this one has beautiful vocals and astonishing atmosphere. And yeah, moving on to the middle of the road tracks from a couple weeks ago. These are okay songs, not the best, not the worst. We have Travis Scott with Highest in the Room. That's the name of his new single. This one's getting a lot of hype. This is psychedelic hip-hop. The instrumental outro on this is better than anything else. It was going in an interesting direction at the end of this track, but I feel like everything leading up to that outro is just not really the best that Travis could be putting out at this point. Maybe the outro to this track will act as some kind of segue to something better on an album or an EP, but until then, we'll just have to wait and see. Moving on from there, we have Maren teaming up with Hozier on the track The Bones, which is standard and run-of-the-mill for a collaboration between country and alternative rock. We get the usual guitar licks looped over and over again from Hozier, and I feel like Hozier, he might have benefited a bit more with a collaboration with Casey Musgraves on this one. Way Down by Tim McGraw featuring Shy Carter is the next track I'll be talking about here. This is country with a standard rock feel. Nothing standout about it, but it's okay if you're looking for something to listen to after a hard day of work. Sleater-Kinney have released their latest single as a group since The Center Won't Hold. That was their album that they put out in August. This new single from them is called Animal, and this one feels like a mediocre B-side. It just feels like it was left over from that album, and it just isn't as good as the songs on that album. Now transitioning to the cold tracks from a couple weeks ago. These were the worst tracks that I heard. First up, we have 10,000 Hours by Dan and Shay featuring Justin Bieber. This is a pop country fusion with a corny, lovey-dovey sentiment to it. It sounds as bad as you would think that pop and country would get along. Yeah, which it can get along. I'm just not liking this tune. And Justin Bieber, he proves once again that he has no vocal chemistry with other male vocalists. I have to think really hard to remember the last time that Justin had a decent collaboration with an artist. I would have to go back to like Purpose with Halsey. Speaking of Halsey, she has a new single out. It's called Clementine, And this is an utter mess. It has putrid vocals, elementary piano playing all over top of this sparse and vapid beat. It makes Halsey's last single sound like Beethoven. Like, this is just such a step down in quality from something that was already a step down in quality before. But yeah, this new single from her is even worse. Now moving on to this past week of songs, October 6th to 12th. We're going to go back through the hot tracks first. Kicking that off, we have Cigarettes After Sex. Their new single is entitled Falling in Love. This one is ambient, it's serene, and it fills the room with such pensive thought. Lucy Dacus has a cover of Phil Collins's In the Air Tonight. Pretty faithful rendition with a tad more vocal harmonies and vocal effects. Slightly less delay on the vocals as we build towards the iconic drum fill. Once the drums do kick in full time, they are spot on to the original, but they have a bit more of a techno inspiration, at least with the first leg of the track. I would say the biggest disparity between the original and this cover by Lucy Dacus, it really comes down to the fade out, and there is no fade out on this cover here. Lucy Dacus's version does give us a bit of closure with a musical idea. It's not completely necessary, but I do like it, I guess. And lastly, for the hot tracks from this past week, I can't believe I'm recommending a French Montana song, but I'm gonna do it anyways. This new single from him is called Twisted. It features Juicy J, Logic, and A$AP Rocky, and yeah, this one sounds like a club song. They got it right. The instrumental sounds like LMFAO's Shots, so it might be a little derivative because of that, but I still like the song. It feels like a guilty pleasure. Now on to the middle of the road tracks. Again, these are okay songs, not the best, not the worst, and we have a hype single, something that is being talked about a lot right now in the industry and just in the world. Harry Styles, he has returned with his latest single since that self-titled album that I love so dearly. Lights Up is the name of it, and it was only a matter of time that we had to get all One Direction singers releasing new material over the past month. Harry followed suit after we had Niall the week before. We had other tracks by Liam, Louis, and Zayn over the past month as well. But out of those One Direction singers, I would argue that Harry Styles has the most amount of attention right at the moment because of that album, I would say. This new single from Harry Styles, though, I have mixed emotions with it. It's fine. I just feel like it's missing the charm that made his debut solo album so electric and compelling. The tune, it's laid back. It's just so tame in comparison to some of the other cuts that he had on his first album. Don't get me wrong, he sounds good vocally. I just feel like this new song from him doesn't really push any boundaries. It kind of feels like gutless indie rock mixed with singer-songwriter aesthetic. I don't know. Camila Cabello has another single out over the past week. This one's called Easy, and this is drab and watered down pop. It's very forgettable with his tune. It sounds like Ellie Goulding with half as much energy. Green Day have another new single out, Fire, Ready, Aim, and they recently announced a promotional deal with the National Hockey League as they're teaming up with them. This new tune will be in support of the Wednesday night hockey anthem. The track, it continues that same soulful punk formula that Father of All was doing, that last single from Green Day. It's even shorter. And you know what? It is a slight upgrade in quality, but it still is weird for me to think of this as Green Day. I don't know. It doesn't compute with my brain. It'll serve fine as a hockey anthem, I hope, but nothing else beyond that. You by James Arthur is the latest from the English singer-songwriter with a bit more of a hip-hop influence. We have Travis Barker on here as well, the drummer from Blink-182. It feels like James is giving his best NF impression with doom-filled and scary instrumentals in the background here. It's okay. In wrapping up the middle of the road tracks this past week, we have Tequila Does by Miranda Lambert, the 6/8 and 4/4 time signatures that switch back and forth. Pretty compelling. I do like the backwoods acoustic guitar sound too. And yeah, Miranda is the lone country artist this past week to come through with a decent tune that is really hard to predict where it ends because of the switching time signatures. So I do appreciate that. Now onto the cold tracks from the past week. Again, the worst that I heard. We have Blueface featuring Jeremy. This one's called Close Up, and Blueface proves that he is one-dimensional when it comes to his flows and deliveries. Tatiana will most likely be his only hit, and he sounds really stale and vapid when it comes to his brand of tropical house here. Even the feature from Jeremy isn't enough to save this track, unfortunately. Moving on from there, Anders, the Canadian R&B artist, he put out a new single called My Side of the Bed. This is a plain and patronizing lyrical attempt to make a girl feel bad for keeping him waiting. I Told You by James Blunt. This song makes me want to slam my head against the wall. It is way too perky, happy-go-lucky, and optimistic. It comes across as condescending, really. Kinfolks by Sam Hunt. This is douchey pop country with every sly line you can find in the cliche book. Sam Hunt, he's got to be one of the most obnoxious country artists out there at the moment, and he found a way to check off every box for corny, eye-rolling, and atrocious music. A couple other tracks I need to run through here. Jason Aldean, Got What I Got. This is disgusting with its reverbed vocals and electro drum beats. Lackluster tune on this one, and come on, when you have a title, Got What I Got, that just says it all. Like, it's gonna be a bad song, I'm sorry. And lastly, this week we have Baka Not Nice with his new single called Up. And it's not a surprise that this song lands itself here because, Baka Not Nice, he had one of the worst songs of 2018 in my opinion. And what would be 2019 without a follow-up, you know? There's Hot and Cold for the past couple weeks. I hope that, I hope that I don't get sick because last week was no fun. But sound off down below in the comments. Let me know what you think of these songs. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching, and have a rockin' day.